The wail of sirens tore through the twilight calm of Willow Creek, their red and blue flashes bouncing off tidy lawns and pastel shutters. From my front steps, I watched an ambulance and two police cruisers skid to a stop outside Margaret Voss's house, the epicenter of our neighborhood's unraveling. Neighbors emerged, clutching coffee mugs and phones, their whispers buzzing with unease. Margaret, the iron-fisted president of our homeowners association, was no stranger to drama, but this felt different, raw, real, and final. My name is Nathan Pierce, and for 5 years, I'd lived in this serene suburb without a hitch. That changed 6 months ago when Margaret, dubbed Empress Maggie, in hushed tones took the HOA throne, turning our quiet community into her personal battleground. I never imagined I'd be the one to challenge her, but a single act of defiance set me on a collision course with her wrath. It started with my fence. My old wooden one was sagging, so I replaced it with a sleek, charcoal gray VY and YL model. I wasn't reckless. I pored over the HOA bylaws, confirmed the color was on the approved list, and even got a nod from a former board member, Lisa Chun. The installation was quick, and I admired the clean lines it added to my backyard. The next day, a violation notice appeared, taped to my gate in Margaret's florid handwriting. My fence, it claimed, was in violation of community standards for being too modern and disruptive to neighborhood cohesion. I stared at the paper, baffled. Modern? It was a fence, not a neon billboard. I called the HOA office, hoping to clear things up. Margaret answered, her voice honeyed but sharp, like a blade dipped in syrup. Nathan, dear, I'm simply protecting our property values, she said, as if explaining JRA-VY tie to a toddler. That gray is far too stark. It clashes with the aesthetic harmony. I pointed out that I'd used the exact color code from the bylaws, but she brushed me off. The board, that's Meha's final authority on interpretations. Repaint it, or you'll face fines. Her tone left no room for debate. I wasn't about to roll over. I requested a hearing at the next HOA meeting, set for Tuesday at the community center. Margaret agreed, but her clipped fine suggested I'd regret crossing her. I spent the weekend building my case. Photos of other gray fences in Willow Creek, Lisa's email confirming the color's approval, and the manufacturer's spec sheet. This wasn't just about my fence, it was about fairness, about rules applying to everyone, not just Margaret's whims. Tuesday evening, I arrived early, my EVY Denke folder in hand. A handful of neighbors were there, some offering sympathetic nods. At 7 p.m. sharp, Margaret swept in, her navy blazer and pearl earrings GIVYing the air of a small-town dictator. Before anyone could speak, she clutched her phone, her face a mask of stage concern. I'm so sorry, everyone, but I've just been alerted to a water main break at the East Gate. As HOA president, I need to coordinate with the utility company. Murmurs spread as she grabbed her purse and hurried out, her heels clicking like a metronome. The VYC president, Carl, mumbled that the meeting was postponed and shuffled after her. I stood frozen, my folder useless. Her exit felt too convenient, too rehearsed. The next week, the same script played out. Margaret burst in, phone to her ear, voice loud with fake urgency. Yes, I understand. A medical emergency at the clubhouse. I'll be there to assist the paramedics. She turned to us, eyes wide. A resident's had a fall. I have to go. She was gone before questions could form. Leah VYing Carl to reschedule again. My fence violations kept coming, now with Dula 25 daily fines. Neighbors started sharing their own stories, Margaret finding them for unapproved planters or excessive holiday lights. Willow Creek was suffocating under her rule. By the third canceled meeting, I was sure Margaret was faking these crises to dodge scrutiny. I needed proof. At the local diner, I ran into Jim Torres, a retired police sergeant who still had ties to the department. When I mentioned Margaret's emergencies, he frowned. That's weird. I'd have heard about calls to Willow Creek, and there's been nothing for months. His words were the push I needed to investigate. For the next meeting, I arrived an hour early and parked across from the community center, hidden by a row of oaks. At 6:55 p.m., Margaret's black SUV rolled into her reserved spot. She didn't exit right away. Through her windshield, I saw her touch up her lipstick, fluff her hair, and rehearse something, her hands gesturing animatedly. At 7 o'clock, she stepped out, mussed her hair for effect, and strode inside, phone already to her ear. "Yes, I understand. A possible gas leak at the north entrance," she said, her voice trembling with practiced panic. "As HOA president, I'll pro-VY to the utility keys." She scanned the room, her expression grave. "I'm so sorry, but I have to handle this. The fire department needs me." I stood, my pulse racing, but my voice calm. "That's odd, Margaret. I spoke with the fire department this morning, and they have no record of any calls to Willow Creek. Same with the police." The room went silent, every head swiveling to her. Margaret froze, her hand gripping her phone, her face flashing from shock to anger. "In fact," I continued, "I checked with the utility company too. No gas leaks, no water main breaks, nothing." Her eyes darted, searching for an escape. "Well, Nathan, this call just came in," she said, forcing a shaky smile. "Their systems must be delayed. Better safe than sorry." She bolted before anyone could respond, her SUV screeching out of the lot. Carl, flustered, suggested we proceed without her. We finally held a real meeting. My EVY densa photos, emails, specs was airtight, and the board dismissed my violations unanimously. As we wrapped up, neighbors shared their own run-ins with Margaret, her fines for tacky birdhouses, her demands to trim overgrown roses. The room buzzed with defiance, a community waking up. 2 days later, the sirens came. I was mowing my lawn when the emergency vehicles roared into Willow Creek, converging on Margaret's house. Neighbors gathered, phones out, rumors flying. I watched from my driveway, expecting another stunt, but the paramedics' urgency felt genuine. They rushed inside, followed by 2 officers. After 10 tense minutes, the paramedics emerged, looking irritated. Then came Margaret, cuffed, her pristine blazer askew, shouting, "This is outrageous. I'm the HOA president." It was a safety drill. The officers, unfazed, read her rights and guided her to a cruiser. The neighborhood messaging app lit up, and by nightfall, the police released a statement. For 6 months, Margaret had been calling 911 with fake emergencies, car accidents, heart attacks, even a non-existent home invasion. Each call was timed to derail HOA meetings, letting her avoid challenges to her power. She'd posed as the HOA president with critical access, fooling dispatchers at first. But the pattern, same voice, same number, same pre-meeting timing tipped them off. That morning, she'd reported a child choking at the community pool. The police traced the call and found her at home, packing her briefcase for another meeting. Margaret faced charges of filing false reports and misuse of emergency SARE VYCES, with penalties up to 2 years in prison and $20,000 $20,000 in fines. Her bail was set at $50,000, her phone confiscated. The HOA board called an emergency meeting, packed to the rafters. The vote to oust Margaret was unanimous, her allies silent. She attended, out on bail, her face ashen. As Carl announced her removal, she stood, voice cracking. "This is a witch hunt. I was preparing us for real emergencies." Security escorted her out, her protests fading into the night. Willow Creek exhaled. Carl took over, promising fairness. The violation notices stopped, and neighbors began to rebuild. My fence stayed gray, a quiet VY Tory. Margaret's trial loomed, but word was she'd left town, her house for sale. I didn't care where she went. We'd taken our community back, one fence at a time. If you were the one in this story, how would you react? Would you stand up and fight back, or accept the unreasonable pressure and control from the HOA? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this VY Deo with more people. Your small action gives us the motivation to keep bringing you more intense and engaging stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next VY Deo.